Motion Dirtworks is moved by Ermelo Toyota. This week's show, it's all about the Kalahari 400, round number 3 of the National Off-Road Championships. This action brought to you by Totpack and their associate sponsors.
A big field of riders coming out for round number 3. The action is going to be thick and fast. We start out with the two-wheelers, and in the two-wheelers it's been a basic dice at the front end between Yamaha and KTM. Are we going to see more of the same? And what have the Honda boys done to catch up to what is definitely the 2 quickest manufacturers in the country?
Bike setup and gearing is going to be what it's all about today on the high-speed track.
Biggest on time trial and level with points with your teammate in the championship. What a tough ask for that.
Yeah, no, look, I had a good time trial yesterday. It wasn't easy. I won't say it was easy, but it was very rough, very fast. Hopefully today is not going to be as rough and as fast as yesterday, but you know, we're going to make the best out of what we get. And Bitbase Yamaha, really, my bike feels very good. I know, thanks to the team, and fitness is very good thanks to my trainer. So today, you know, we go out there and make every second count, and don't make any mistakes.
Front end, it is 2 Yamahas, but Grey Dick is up there. Willie van Rooyen first to the Kawasaki's, and the lone green machine in the top 10.
Dad, I know this type of racing isn't your scene, but still second on time trial behind your teammate, not a bad thing.
Yeah, Lawrence enjoys this type of racing, so for me it's just get through it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. It's a long day, a long race, and you have to be positive, I suppose, in all types of racing. You know? So I'll do the best I can and see if I can pass him. If I can't, then I get some good points, you know. So keep the other guys behind us and give Yamaha 1-2 again.
You're equal on championship points, so there's a bit of an in-house rivalry here.
Yeah, of course, there's always in-house rivalry. You know, there's no friends when the flag drops. So I'll try to beat him if I can. If I can't, then again, you know, good points. And yeah, if we can finish 1-2 in the championship, that's great, like last year.
Gray, you're lying third in the championship. Hectic time trial, pretty fast.
Yeah, no, it was quick yesterday. I really liked it. You know, it was brought back the memories of the old days here. So yeah, no, I'm third at the moment in the time trial. So yeah, just gonna try and get out there and catch the guys.
The 2 Yamahas ahead of you are generally quick in this area as well, especially Lawrence. What's your plan going to be to catch him?
Yeah, I think, you know, just hook up there behind the guys and see what happens. You know, these races, it's a long day. A lot of things change and a lot of guys get lost up front. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Guy, after a win at the last round, now you're first on time trial this round. Pretty fast out there though.
Yeah, I know, it's very fast out there. Yeah. Hang cable. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the best scenario at this point in time, but yeah, very quick out here.
Wayne Farmer not too far behind you, and he's obviously your biggest rival at this race as well.
Yeah, I think Wayne's just under a minute or a minute behind me, so the pressure's on. And I think at the beginning of the race, there'll be a lot of tension, you know, of everyone trying to push really hard in the beginning.
With this track getting pretty worked out, fitness is going to be quite a big factor, I think.
Yeah, big factor, very big factor.
So because of being first in time trial, Mahoney sets off first, and he likes it this way. He doesn't like to follow everyone's dust, and he's just going to ring that 2-stroke for all it's worth. But we have seen some problems, and perhaps the 4-stroke may be a better choice for this round.
Check the evil eyes. Away he goes into the battlefield. And right behind him, Brian Baragona starting on the quads. We'll catch them a bit later on. But right now, we're looking at the Bidvest Yamaha boys dominating the front end of both of these fields.
After speaking to Jade this morning, sounds like he's just out there just to get a couple of points. Doesn't necessarily want to go for the win. Won't risk it all. But you've got to know the rest of the guys behind him are going to, because they need to step up and they need the points.
Brother KTM's right behind. Then we go to another Yamaha. And look at that. Webster looks pretty good from the word go. Let's see whether or not he can keep it at the front end. He is on the Yamaha support team, riding out of mixed motorcycles.
Blau's chasing him down, and Blau has looked super strong. But watch out for Mahoney. This is ideal. He really likes to just hold it wide open, old school style of a track, and that's where Mahoney comes from. He will hang it out.
He certainly will, coming in and out of the big river crossing here. How much water in it right now? Here comes his teammate Jade. I think the 2 Bidvest boys are going to dictate the pace of the front end. Have to wait and see whether Bully or Gray or possibly even Rian can run with these 2.
You're watching Jade's style, completely different to Mahoney. He's definitely not out for the win today. Just will take the bag of points at the end of it. Does want to stay ahead of the Kawasaki and the KTMs, but realistically, he's not going to push for the win. I think Grey Dick, this is his style of track as well. He may be able to come to the front on this one.
Well, he's won a couple of deserts in his career, so he definitely knows how to get around these kind of conditions. Rian won't be enjoying these. He's not a big, flat-out kind of person. But, of course, he has got to run as high up as possible. Wade Blau going through the back end, and good to see Anthony Drysdale. Good to see him a little bit higher up than what we normally see, and back in the mix.
It's nice to see a couple more bikes actually in the mix as well. Talaga goes through, getting chased down by Tyron Miller. Now, Tyron you know, he's one of the youngsters coming up, and this will be a big learning curve for him because he's never hit this big track before.
He's going for the under-21 category, remember, Tyron Miller. You see a whole bunch of riders coming through there, picking up on them. Of course, Dutoit was out there. That's a change up for him. He's on the cargo racing team now. Look at how these guys are coming through here, thick and fast, and getting in the mix really early on.
A lot of the key players out there. Brad Van Asveen was in the mix there, John Webster, and then Kurbis Jonk on a Kawasaki. That's a big turn-up.
Ross Branch, well, he's out there and riding both motocross and off-road. He's on the Bad Boy Honda team for motocross, but I'm sure he gets much better coverage here on Dirtworks.
Cummings and Timmy Young, first of the red machines. And watch out, here comes Altus Tibet. Should be followed by his teammate Scotty Skippers. These guys have been like a tag team the whole way through the year. And then Van Wyk and Mayhew. More of the Hondas linked together.
Guy Henley, first of the seniors. So the battle between the seniors is going to be between him and that man, Wayne Farmer. Farmer on the gas, Henley on the off-road racing concepts Kawasaki. Should be a pretty tight battle between the two of them.
Farmer likes it, much more tech. Got his gas 300 tuned up for that style of riding. He'll have had to dive into the box and find some better gears for this kind of track, though.
Kleinans on the Sally's Yamaha machine. Look at that. Not holding anything back. Good to see some of the junior guys and the slightly younger riders, not a junior rider anymore. It was Francois de Greef. He's now stepped up.
F&D Racing back in the house, and welcome back, because he was carrying a lot of bad injuries earlier this year.
Sean Gillick goes through there. E45 coming into our sights as well. This guy's not holding anything back here. Remember, it's still very early days here, Matt. And lots of riding still to happen the whole way through. Meyering Vermeulen is definitely one of our junior riders. He's in the under-21 class on his Sally's Yamaha.
He's got a long way up the road to chase down on Tyron Miller, and we are going through thick and fast. Well, we thought dust wasn't going to be a problem. It kind of is in the lowlands here, but in the wide open stuff, when these guys start bunching up like this, it's going to be very busy work to try and see through the fog.
Team captain from the Naledi and Westbank Motors machine, looking good there. That's Neil Gailey. Right behind him, 812 Martin Poole. 468 is Casper Pieterse on his TM.
This is still relatively slow, just getting the guys warmed up, but when we get out into the fields, man, oh man, you're going to see some wide open action. Mahoney, remember, going for a double here. He was the victor at this track last year. Perfectly suited to his style, so if he wants to start his championship campaign in 2011, this is the track to do it at.
This man is absolutely flying through here. See, not running any thorn protection there. There are quite a bit of thorn trees out there, so a bit of a concern. But I suppose if you can keep it on the inside, not that Mahoney ever does that.
No, it's all about the outside, hanging it wide open. Bolly's moved up into second place, so Jade has rolled off the gas and still just kind of getting himself into the groove here. Doesn't look like he wants this one.
Ray Blau right behind him, then it's Gray. Actually, what happened, Matt, was a couple of the riders, Gray being one of them, and of course Jade being the other. I'm not quite sure who the third rider is, but three of them crashing into a fence and into a bush, going over the bar. So that's why they've lost so much ground.
So all of this is just playing into the hands of Mahoney, and as long as he can keep dialed in and stay focused at the front, he's just going to be able to run away with this one. But it's going to be so much focus because high speed is what this track is all about. The Kalahari 400 is just going to be one of the fastest tracks we raced this year and the fastest running of this race so far as well.
Leading under 21 rider is still Tyron Miller. Right behind him, the TM, Jean Vulcan. Then you got Dion Dutoy. Look at that, absolutely flat out from Ross Branch, Ruan Roberts. And there comes Mark Talaga, the Alpine Stars, Mr. Price Yamaha, looking so good. But remember, he's running in his own little championship battle there and running for the 200cc category.
A couple of stories to pick up on there. Dutoy on his 350 KTM running in the 250 category, picked up by Cargo Racing. So his teammates with this man, Garland, and then Jonk stepping off. He's been on Suzuki for many, many years, stepping onto the Kawasaki. So there's got to be a backstory there of what's gone on with his machinery.
Just saw Sharon Moore. Just behind him comes the machine of Young, another one of our junior riders who's now started to get to grips with senior racing big time. He has the first of their factory Hondas way down there. Jonathan van Wyk, actually his goggles broke on the line, so he got a little bit of a backlog there. Had to wait for another set of goggles before he could get going.
So Altus, Brad Van Asveen and Scotty Skippers hanging in there, and he's going for the 200 class win as well, so watch out for him to come through. Should be able to catch up with the back wheel of Altus Tibet, and again the brother Broadlink KTM boys will be working together to try and plow their way through.
Comes Cummings. Off-road Racing Kawasaki. Off-road Racing Concepts team once again. Another big team here, including this man just behind Wayne Farmer. Guy Henley, we spoke to him at the beginning of the day. He looks like he's fired up for a victory here today, and I think he might be able to give Wayne Farmer a good run.
Well, we saw those red number boards, so watch out for those guys. There's going to be a lot of infighting for the senior battle. We go back and pick up on Drysdale, still running strong ahead of De Griff. And watch how high Frank has got his bars running super high up there.
He's running those flex bars by the looks of things too. Here comes Laurie Merton. 48, second man on the Ramco Honda team. And right behind him, This is about second off. No, he's in second place at the moment. Marion Vermeulen looking good in the under-21 category.
Charging his way through, trying to get up there and chase down on Tyron Miller, the man who's been picked up by Brother Broadlink KTM, and the factory backing has certainly brought him to the front.
Whoa, Kritzinger just getting his wheel stuck in there. You have to stop out of these road crossings, so well done for stopping, but nearly cost him a bit of time. And he lost a couple of seconds there as the bike just fell over in one of those ruts.
Mahoney just hanging it out front, coming into one of the road crossings. So this has been a kind of a thing of the last few years. Very important to make the stops of these road crossings. We've seen guys actually throw away races by not stopping, getting called in by the marshals, and that's it. So all these guys have had a big talking to, and they know what they've got to do.
How's the change up at the front here? 3 leads out. It's 2 in second place and number 1 right behind in third. So 1, 2, and 3 in the championship last year are 1, 2, and 3 on the road.
The amazing story there is that Rian van der Kerk, famous for not liking flat-out wide-open tracks, is coming to the front.
Morley's starting to come back to grips with things and nearly misses the stop, but eventually puts his foot down. That's all you've got to do. Make sure that you put your foot down at the stop sign. Webster making some ground up now. Looks like he's also had a little problems at the front end. Let's see if we can keep it all together now. Remember, he's on the mixed motorcycles Yamaha support team.
In the 2010 season, it was tracks like this where he really shone. So flat out wide open is what the Webster Bros are all about. So watch out for Chris and Jono to get to the front. Branch also super strong in these conditions and the loamy conditions as well. I'm talking about the grip under the tyre is really going to suit his style.
So the full throttle man there, that is of course Ruan Roberts, and in the Enduros he's been running the Beta. He's changed back to the Yamaha now, so a little bit of change up in machinery, maybe still getting to grips with the different feel of those two bikes.
Yeah, as far as the Beta goes, he got it just before the last round of the Enduros. Didn't get enough time to develop the bike, and I think for a track like this, you just need to get on some familiar machinery.
Looks like he's been off a couple of familiar machinery here. Chris Webster just fallen off, lost the peak, bit of goon riding now. I thought his brother was him, so apologies there. Jono went through a bit earlier on, and now we've got Chris Webster and right behind him. Absolutely flat out stuff there from the Cargo Racing man, and Detoy standing up, getting to grips with that new machine.
He also had some damage as well, was losing one of the radiator shrouds on the right hand side, so guys are going down pretty early on, and what looks like a pretty easy simple track is biting these guys hard.
I think it's going to be the hard braking every now and again, because you're on a flat out section, you come into sort of a hairpin, or watching out for big fences and crossings that we've got. Gray Dick's fallen way back. Problems for him. I don't think he's recovered after he went over the bars.
Yeah, it was actually getting wire caught in his back wheel, so I had to do some running repairs. That's going to be another backstory of the day, where these guys are just having problems out there in the field. But we cross over so many different farms that when you cross the wires, sometimes they get flicked up, and someone's going to lose out, I guess.
I actually got caught in his chain guide, so I had to cut it out of that. So hopefully he gets back up onto pace. His teammates are battling as well. I can see that both Scotty Skierpers and Altus not really getting to grips with this kind of conditions.
Yeah, linked up together. They're very technical riders, but I guess today is just about survival. Stevie Williams, the madman. I love watching this guy's riding style, but I think the choice of machinery, he's gone for the two-stroke and committed to this two-stroke all year long, and that means that thing's going to be screaming wide open on the high straights.
It's great to see him on the roost, and of course Ron Bailey picking him up and helping him out. He's actually down at the juniors, helping out on a lot of the junior riders and showing them bits and pieces. So Ron Bailey's team getting to grips with things and also helping us out with a bit of transport on the day too. Big thanks.
We just saw Brad van Alsbeek, another one of the Cargo Racing guys, looking for a 200 class win. Garland behind him on the Huizenberg looking for a 250 win, but he's got a lot of guys up the road to chase things down on.
One is Franco Smith, the other is Sharon Moore. They're closing down things, looking good there for Franco Smith. But here's a change up at the front end and still leading. Well, I say leading. The two of them are probably just having a nice outing, riding together here and saying, well, we're nowhere near third place in the senior championship. Let's just go out and have fun together.
Yeah, equally matched. The guys can just work together. No real pressure. They'll just hang it out all day long and go for the race right at the end. Drysdale, all kinds of loose, and the Fox Rider, those boots just looked like they're disintegrating underneath him. They were just about all the ratchets were gone.
He's on the fast Kawasaki, the F&D Racing man coming through. Wow, running a little wide there.
Funky line from De Griff.
Lawrence looks pretty fast out there.
Yeah, very, very fast. This was the second loop we did now. Yes, it was very rough. Unbelievable how rough it could get in such a short time, but I think it's because the terrain is very wet, so it gets chewed up very easily. But yeah, we've done 2 laps now. We've got 2 more and totally different routes. So, you know, going out on this loop now, I'm just going to make sure I get to know the terrain and take it easy and not get hurt. And then on the last lap, just push as hard as I can and get to the finish, you know?
Bully pretty fast out there. Only 1 hour, 10 minutes for 100 Ks. It's pretty quick.
Yeah, I know, it's very quick out there. He's just flat out stuff. So, but I mean, it suits me. I'm going to give it a good go.
This bike's bigger than Lawrence's. You planning to catch him now on these last 2 laps?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the next loop is the same, also fast, and try and, with a bigger bike, try and, obviously the faster stuff should suit us. Yeah, and give it a good go.
Well, this is right up your alley, but quite a tight race out there with you guys.
Very tight. At the moment everyone's on each other at the moment, but I'm enjoying it. It's safe, it's fast, but it's safe, so it's good.
Now 2 laps to go. It's going to be a bit more whipped out from the quads.
I'm hoping, I think separate the boys from the men a little bit in the whoops and stuff. It's not just holding it flat out, but hope to have a good result this race. Thanks to Sally's and everyone that got me here.
Rian, this is really, really fast, but you guys all bunched up.
Yeah, it's really fast, and the dust is not too bad, so we can all see each other, so it makes it even harder to make a gap. It's really, really fast. I mean, we're beating the pit crew from refuel to refuel at the moment, and I'm not sure about the next 2 loops, but I think it'll probably be about the same, so we'll probably be finished by 12 o'clock today.
Mahoney back out on track, untroubled, and there's no one on his back wheel for a long way. And as long as that Bidvest Yamaha 2-stroke can keep smoking away, he's going to run away with this one again and go double time in the Kalahari 400.
I want to ask you a question here, Matt. Do you think he's worried about the bike blowing again? Remember the last time we were at a flat-out circuit, he went so fast that the engine actually couldn't take the pace. So hopefully they've done some work on that bike to keep it at the front end.
Yeah, the reason for the problems last time is he did no work on the bike in between the 2 races. So this time, he's turned the screws, the team will have looked after the bike, and they're sending him out there for wins every time. Jade, his teammate, moved up into 3rd place, so recovering from the hard start of the day, and he's just, we can see he's a little bit nervous, looking over his shoulder. I think that was a wave to the cameraman more than the rider behind him, though.
And we got Jono Webster. It's nice to see these Yamahas at the front end of the Kawasaki, but I don't see any orange machinery except for this man. And he's not the man I was expecting.
Yeah, not on this kind of track. Very technical rider, old Rian van Kirk, but he is alone. KTM out front, and he'll be missing Grey Dick. Grey Dick will be on the comeback trail, though, trying to crack his way into the top 5.
Wade Blau and Branch. Oh, nice riding out from Naledi and Westbank Racing, man. Ross Branch flying the flag high there for his team. And Neil Gailey's running at the front end of the Masters. So not a bad effort from the 2 of them, but speaking of not a bad effort, flat out Mahoney, you don't get better than that.
Into the bomb holes, just skying a little bit of a double. I don't think the rest of the guys are going to hit it as a double. Bolly very tentative through there, just tickling his way through, and with that kind of riding, he's not going to be able to close down. But the story is that Jade is flying now, and as soon as he gets around that Kawasaki, he's going to have clear air, he's going to be able to drop him.
Webster's trying to close down on that little group, but unfortunately he's just lost a little bit of ground earlier on. So to make up ground, especially on such a fast loop, I mean, we're looking at about 1 hour and 10 minutes to do 100 Ks. These guys are on the limit almost the entire lap.
Webster and Blau making it a sea of Yamahas out front. But it's good to see the Kawasaki's, especially on the fast track like this, coming to the front and bringing the KTMs along to the right. Remember, Rian is on that 350 Enduro setup bike, and he says it's just fantastic on these kind of hills.
Perfect for his riding style. Branch, well, he's just in there, in it to win it if he can, but unfortunately I don't think his Honda's got the same kind of pace as what we've seen from the front boys.
Now watch out for this. Ruan Roberts back on his favorite bike, the Yamaha 2-stroke, getting chased down by Tyron Miller. And Tyron Miller head and shoulders ahead of the rest of the under-21 crowd.
Now OL4 is all about that man this year. Don't forget a couple of riders coming through so we can up the numbers a bit. Alpine Stars and Mr. Price Yamaha in full flight there. Oh, Talaga's looking good, and I think the 200 battle is done and dusted. There's not even another 200cc even near him.
Here's Grey Dick, definitely on the comeback trail, fixing those problems on his bike early on and trying to chase down on the leaders. Grey Dick going for the open category, and he should be able to get up there in the overalls.
Dutoy's having...
yeah, big style.
Yeah, there's a 10 out of 10 there for Dutoy. Biggest style we've had so far, and he's from Dirt Style, isn't he?
Yeah, he likes the style in the air. He's all the way up there, and again on that 350 KTM, and I think he's got like a load of bikes. Every race we see, he picks a different bike out of the trailer.
He's got one of those extreme garage pictures, remember? She can have the rest of the house. Dutoy's just got the garage full of bikes.
That's it. John Vilkin, still the fastest TM in South Africa.
First factory Honda out there, of course, is Van Wyk, making up lost ground, but he's definitely made up some ground, which is good to see, and the Ramco boys will be happy about that.
chasing down on that ever-popular 200 class, and it really is a showstopper. In the 250s, you're talking about Mahoney, Garland, those kind of guys. Jade is the main man in the open category, but in the 200s, Van Wyk, Scotty Skeepers, Brad Van Asbeken, a lot of big names.
New helmet there for Chris Webster. He's got to make up the ground now that he lost when he went down. Couldn't have been too bad because he doesn't look too shabby there. Right behind him comes Altus. This is third of our brother Broadlink KTM riders.
Remember, Altus still trying to figure his way how to work these off-road races. One of the kings and former champion of the Enduro Championship side of things. But in the flat out, still trying to figure his way through. And Scotty Skeepers, just a little bit of style for the camera as well.
I think he's second in the 200, if I'm not mistaken, right now. So good ride there from Skeepers, just keeping it slow and steady, but getting to the end. Franco Smith trying to make up the ground that he lost out early on. And look at this, Guy Henley. How far back do we see Wayne Farmer? Is he right with him still, or has Henley pulled a bit of a gap?
Well, that's what we've got to check out, because these guys were matched pretty evenly early on. Kleinams was just behind, so we've definitely lost Farmer out of this battle so far.
So Farmer losing some ground there. I think he had some technical problems on his bike, and actually he was hard on the brakes, so hard on the brakes that the brake pads actually fell out. So second place now is Glenn Cruiser. He's moved up to second place on his Off-Road Racing Concepts KTM. And, well, it's a big change up there in the seniors.
Hard deal for Cruiser is he's got no one to chase down. He's got a bit of clear air, so no way to judge how much he's got to push to get across that gap. We go back to the leader, though. Mahoney is owning this one, and you've just got to hope that that bike is going to last.
See how hard he's pushing. He's not holding anything back now. Remember, at the beginning of the day, he said he was going to go all out to make this his race victory and make it 2 in a row here at Kalahari 400.
Jade has moved through into second place, so he's got around Bolly Van Rooyen. We've got 2 Budweis Yamaha's leading out the Kalahari 400. But has Jade got enough time to close down on his teammate and the man that is leading this race? And man, Jade looks like he wants it. Now, I said he didn't want it at the beginning of the show. I've changed my mind.
Bolly's lost a bit of ground here. Something's gone wrong with Bolly Van Rooyen. But it's now Webster up into third. Yamaha's 1, 2, and 3 coming up on some back markers.
Jono Webster, we're not far away from the end of this race as well. Another time check, another Marshall point, and we are running out of kilometers in this super fast Kalahari 400.
Doesn't look like there's any damage on Bolly's bike. He's still got the hard grips on there, no problems at all. Look at that. So maybe he just went wrong. Maybe he just made a mistake somewhere. I'm not sure.
It's late in the race. There's a lot of fade, a lot of elements that come into play. Blau has been kind of consistent. He's been the number 5 rider the whole way through this race, and it'd be good to see him chase down some points on that. Looking for some points in the open class and the overalls.
He's had a good ride, a much better ride out of Wade Blau, so good to see some improvements coming through from the riders. There's the 350. It's going to be second place, unfortunately, there for Rian. He's not going to be able to catch onto the back end of the guys up front.
Remember, Rian is on the 350. He runs in the 250 category, so his competition is the man that leads out on the road, Lawrence Mahoney. But very proud of Rian to see him get his head around the tracks that we know he doesn't like.
He's always been a man who says that the flat-out road racing style is not his. He likes it to be more technical, but he's got around it. And as you say, ridden around the problem and made this track his own. And that's going to give him probably a second place in the 250cc category.
Branch, we just saw him come through, fastest of the red machinery. So the motocross crossover man who has probably one of the busiest seasons out there racing in motocross and in the off-roads. He is waving the flag high for the red machines. And then Ruan Roberts back on his Yamaha, riding out at full throttle, running a good result.
Quick little refuel there. As you can see, the refuel point just on the other side of the road. Under 21s, Tyron Miller has owned it.
Kind of fallen off the pace a little bit towards the end, so bit of fatigue coming into play. Grey Dick, he's been on the comeback trail. Fitness is definitely there. The bike is definitely there. Just some problems early on, dropping him back.
Yeah, mechanicals and a big fence that he had to chop himself out of. But he's made himself get back up into contention, and he's just inside the top 10.
Mahoney running into one of the last road crossings before they cross over into the finishing area. And he will be so stoked. He knows this track well. He's won on it before, and he knows how close he is to the end.
Jade knows that he could have caught him had he also not gone over the bars and had the couple of problems that he had during the day. However, he'll be happy with second place. Remember, he's in a different category, so the open category is going to go to Jade, and the 250 category and overall victory probably going to go to Lawrence Mahoney.
Please note, by the way, how clean Lawrence Mahoney is. I think he can just put that kit straight in his bag and go race the next race. But Jade, Bolly, Webster, they are roosted. They've been sucking a little bit of dust at the end of this one.
Awesome to see the open category being represented as second, third, and fourth place on the road, but no one caught this man. Absolutely amazing stuff, and that is 2 in a row for the Kalahari 400 for Lawrence Mahoney.
King of the Kalahari, and back onto the screaming two-stroke Budweis Yamaha. He so needed that victory in the 2011 season.
Obviously thanking the big man for all the help and making sure that he was safe. To see that and coming through in second place, making it Bidvest Yamaha's 1 and 2, and 2 victories in the respective classes as well from Jay.
We know that Jay just wanted to survive the day, so second place will be more than he hoped for, and he'll be happy with those points.
Here's another happy man coming through in second place in the Open, but third overall. Off-road racing concepts, Kawasaki of Paulie van Rooyen.
Here's how they finished in the overalls then. Confirmation of Lawrence Mahoney on the Bidvest Yamaha, taking his win ahead of teammate Jade Goodsight. Bolly first of the Kawasaki's ahead of Webster, Blau, Vannikirk, Branch, Dick, Roberts, Miller. That was the top 10.
Lawrence, that makes 2 Kalahari 400s in a row, and good year for you. That 2-stroke definitely your style.
Yeah, no, look, first of all, I got to thank the team, Bradley Bidvest Yamaha and Steve and everybody from the team. They really did an awesome job on the bike. I couldn't ask for any better. Hilton Hayward, he did a good job on my suspension. And my family, mom and dad, they helped me flat out in the pits. And without them, this is not possible. And the Lord, this is so dangerous. We're traveling so fast, It's only the Lord's will to get us here safe. And to get the win is just thanks to him. And long race, and Jade caught me at the end. So made it interesting. I said earlier today, I hope he catches up and we can do some racing, and that's what he did. So it was a good day.
Category breakdown. In the Opens, it's Jade Goodsight, Paulie van Rooyen, Jonathan Webster, Wade Blau, and Ross Branch on his Honda.
In the 250s, Mahoney wins out on the Yamaha ahead of the KTM of Vannikirk.
As said in the 200cc category, no one was going to catch the Alpine Stars. Mr. Price Yamaha, Mark Talaga. He wins out ahead of Tim Young. A good ride from Tim Young. And Jonathan van Wyk in third place.
Under 21s, it's turning into a good battle. Tyron Miller untouched though. Franco Smith on the Honda, starting to get better.
The seniors, well, it was Guy Henley from the start who led out. Wayne Farmer was right with him. After some brake problems, he eventually recovered to second place. And Glenn Cruiser on his KTM in third.
Neil Gailey, the main man in the Masters on the Yamaha ahead of Martin Poole.
So once again, a big congratulations to the Bidvest Yamaha team dominating the Kalahari 400. Paulie van Rooyen looking forward to the next round. Join us after the break for the quads.
In the race to Dubai, you need to pack your skill and bring your game. Pride and reputation are at stake, and it's points that count. And just when you've mastered the terrain, only then do you find that the greatest challenge still lies ahead. Five countries, 51 grueling courses. Get your race on with the best golfers in the world on the 2011 European Tour. Nowhere else but on your World of Champions. Brought to you by Telcom Business.
JFPI Corporation, African Diamond Council, and DSTV brings you the N1 Street Ball Mixtape Tour, featuring Hot Sauce, Spider, 50, Baby Shaq, and the rest of the N1 crew. Check out these games and hip-hop performances in Joburg at the UJ Soweto campus, Sunday the 8th of May, and the UKZN Westville campus in Durban, Saturday the 14th of May. Doors open at 1 p.m., $100 gets you in, tickets available at CompuTicket. Be there.
Know your power. Know yourself. Know your goal.
The 2011 Samsung IAAF Diamond League Series. Get to know the world's greatest athletes on your World of Champions. Exclusive to premium subscribers. Powered by Engine from start to finish.
Welcome back to Rapid Motion Dirt Works. We're carrying on our coverage from the Kalahari 400, and we've seen the bikes. It's now quad time, and man, you're going to see some high speed now.
Hopefully the gearing has been sorted out on these bikes because there are some high-speed spots that they're going to have to go flat out in. Top contenders this season have been Flippy Bart and Brian Baragwanath.
Well, Brian, it's been a pretty bad luck year for you, and now you're on top of time trial, but you need to finish today.
Absolutely, that's where we want to keep it. Bike's working well, loving the setup, thanks to PP and Lone Star. I can't complain, I'm looking for a good result today.
You
You're chasing in the championship now. Is that playing in your head at all when you start this race today?
Absolutely. We want to finish and we want to finish first today.
Suspension going to be a major setup today with all that loop section, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Suspension's a big deal, motor's a big deal. It's a very fast event, but when it gets technical, you've got to make it count.
Time trial, and it was all about Brian Baragwanath, but a big surprise as Damien Lee got up into second place ahead of Flippy Bart.
Damien, you coming good this year with consistency in time trials and in the races. Tell us what your trick is this year.
Just decided to ride at my own pace, not push myself too hard, and take it easy and just judge the corners carefully.
It's going to be a pretty quick race today with a lot of sand and whoops. Suspension going to be a major setup today.
Yes, my PEP shocks done by EMD Racing worked phenomenally yesterday. They were absolutely amazing.
So what are you expecting out there today?
Long grass, fast, thick sand, and it's going to be fun.
Flippy, desert racing is what you're used to, and this is desert racing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yesterday was a lot of fun. Very fast sections, but we enjoyed it, and we'll see how today it turns out.
Leading the championship, but you got Brian in front of you now on time trial. Is that going to be a hard thing to catch?
Well, I don't know. I think today it's not a race that you want to start in front. The grass is going to be long, and then again 400 k's is very, very long.
First 2 loops on one loop, and then you go into the next. Is it all about consistency throughout the race?
Well, I'm going to try to be consistent. I'm just going to try and finish good and enjoy myself.
So as we saw in the bikes, it's Bidvest Yamaha leading out. Brian Baragwanath needs to take a win here, but he's going to have some big guys chasing him down.
Lots of competition coming his way as well. Watch out for the 2 Hondas behind him. As you said, a big, impressive ride from the Amsoil man. He's up into second place after the time trial. He's going to be closed down very quickly by Flippy.
Duplessis and then Busman. Now, Busman looks like he really wants it, and this is classic Busman territory. Flat out and just pinned.
Everything she's got. Duplessis. Looks like we've missed the front 2 leaders there, or what's happened? We don't know Brian. Brian's gone missing. Duplessis leads out. Flippy's up in a second, so Brian has had a problem early on.
We saw this with the bikes. Crossing these fences causes a lot of problems, and Brian has wound up almost an entire fence into his back wheel. We're going to have to see what he can do. We know he can come from behind, but this is going to be a big ask.
Riders coming through here thick and fast. We saw Sorrel van Biljoen, Swanepoel's in there. Right behind him comes Cornell Connemeyer. And look at that, Hannes Simon right up there and in contention right from the word go.
He had a good qualifier on this track, on these kind of events, you so need a good qualifier. And check out the Masked Bandit, Vic Zebra, all the way up there, and a new helmet, looks funky.
And he's second place in the seniors, just behind Sorrel van Biljoen, who went through a couple of bikes ago. But remember, this is the first lap, and it's pretty much just some big grass cutting going on now. The leaders are showing the rest of the field how to get around.
Yeah, it's only for the brave out front. I definitely wouldn't want to be out there. Just want to follow the guys, learn the track, and check where everything is lying. We saw Jaco Fender go through there. Ferreira was just ahead of him. Jackie Antigua, Chris Fell, and Vince.
Big Vince coming through. And our first of our masters. And who do we see? Oh, who do we expect to see? Yuri Meyer, as always.
Fastest old man on the Yamaha, absolutely pinned. Gideon Reinecker, he's looking pretty decent as well, and Chris van der Veste is not a great qualifier for him, but he should be able to get his way up there on the open class quad.
Rian Stander and flying through here, absolutely awesome stuff. As you said, Gideon Reinecker going to make his way through. Remember, oh, what is this, AMA? The AMA Supercross out here. Flippy Bart leads out. He's got these boys right on his tail. Duplessis and Busman. And it looks like Duplessis got stuck in some mud somewhere.
Yeah, it looks like Flippy's pretty happy to be out front because he's not taking any of the roost off the rest of these guys. And check out Jackie Antigua. He's actually bridged the gap and he is running in the front bunch. That's good for the junior step up.
Who else is not running in the front bunch here? Look at these guys. They're absolutely pinned together here. You can throw a proverbial blanket over the first 10 riders there.
Yeah, there's no bunch. It's just the entire race is out there. So just look at the freight train heading out. That Marshall point is going to be crazy. That poor guy's going to run out of ink in the first 5 minutes.
He is. Zebra's caught up onto the back end of them now. So he's also caught up onto the back end of Sorrel van Biljoen. So the senior battle is also in those front 12 bikes that are split by less than 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah, the first bit of air is actually Jaco Fenter, and poor guy, he missed the invite to the front group.
It'll be in the mail though, don't worry. You can get it when you get back and download your email.
And then Chris van der Veste, remember, he's running in the open class. So when we get into the open sections where you can really stretch the legs, that big Honda is going to be firing.
Vince Lopeshaw right on his tail. He's just come back from getting married. Then you got Chris Fell behind him. And Yuri Meyer. Well, he got the email. He's up there.
Fell looked like he had some goggle issues, so he'll be praying that he can get out there and get them swapped out because it's going to be a huge problem. Not necessarily for the roost, but you're just traveling so fast. If you get an eye whip from one of those bits of grass even, it's going to hurt, man.
That Gideon Reinecker on the Honda. Here comes Brian. So he sorted out the problem, cut the fence out of the back wheels, and now back on the pace. But a lot of ground to make up. Well, I say a lot of ground. They're not that far up ahead, so with still probably about 360 odd Ks to go, there's enough time for him to catch up.
Probably only lost around about 5 minutes. He's a good mechanic as well, so he'll know how to work on his bike out there on the trails. And this is where Brian is dangerous. Normally when he's leading out front, he won't give it everything. He'll kind of cruise and ride about an 80% pace. Now it's going to be 110 the whole way.
Jose Roxy dos Santos flying into sight for the first time today. Factory Racing Man.
Senior rider as well, so watch out for him to close things down. He should be up there in the points.
These guys are coming through here now and looking pretty good, but remember, there is still a long, long way to go. Just behind, picking up on the riders as they come through. Looks like that's Brendan van Staden. And behind him, some really good, I was about to say, really big riders. And there it is, speaking of the bigger riders, Kobus Visser, first of the 4x4s.
Not a track that's necessarily going to suit the 4x4s, plenty of power, but it's going to be hard to keep it wound up because the gearing is pretty tight on those things. He'll have to do a lot of spanner work in the off-season. Sorry, between the races, should I say.
Second of the Santos is Tony, and then right behind comes the first of the ladies, Melissa van Rensburg. She's running high up. That's really good to see on her Synergy quad.
Running ladies and Q1, so she wants a fistful of dollars after this race, and Busman has taken his turn out front. These riders are just, it's like a cycling race. You just take your turn at the front and take a bit of roost at the back. There's going to be nothing to decide between these guys, and Sorrel Valbunion, just the last rider in that bunch as well.
So Hannah Simon might have had a problem going over the bars there. Looks like his peak was gone. And also a bit of mud. Behind him comes Williams.
Yeah, he's on the comeback trail. He didn't have a great qualifier, so he's flying out there. Swanepoel just behind him. Then Connemeier, one of the junior step-ups. But the real story is to see how far Brian is. He hasn't quite linked onto this group yet.
Water Ride Racing being represented there by Cornel Connemeier. Behind him, it's like Erasmus. And then Peterson.
How's that?
Nicely done.
Just pulls the hands off, even though he's got hand guards, didn't want to take, because those are thorn trees, man. They'll rip you apart.
Yeah, well, Sebra's not worried about it. Jeez, he just went through there absolutely full tilt.
Jaco Venter just falling off the pace here ever so slightly. Sweet line through the gap there. I want to see if Brian's just going to surf his way through the puddles. He'll be flying by the time he gets to this point.
Chris van der Westhuizen, leading open rider on the Honda. No hassles at all for him. I mean, he's just going to take it easy. He's not worried about the battle in front of him because there's just seniors and 450 riders in front.
Chris Fowl sorted out his goggle situation, so he's got some new eyewear happening there. Yuri Meyer, the master and the master of quad riding. But who's behind? It's Vince and the danger man. Here comes Brian.
I think Vince saw him coming, just moved out the way, realized it was Brian. Good move there. Good stablemate work from the two Yamaha boys.
Brian is absolutely flying now, and it's not too far before he actually catches that lead bunch. So we're going to see some changes up from the aggressive Bidvest Yamaha man.
Loving the fact that Reinecker and Stander on the CDV machines are starting to come through, and might even be a factor by the end of the race.
Stander was the last man to come through, shot there, and Brian Baragwanath has done the unthinkable. Dropped back 5 minutes, closed the gap, and now he leads because this is the kind of track that suits him. He will never, ever back off the throttle.
Full tilt there. You can see absolutely everything she's got. There's into the highest gear he's got on the bike. Behind him, it's going to be Flippy. Flippy Bart realized that once Brian had got through, he cannot play around with the boys anymore. He's got to get going, and it looks like his teammate is going to go with him.
Check out Williams. He's really plowed through a lot of traffic, so Williams has just done so much work in the early part of this race to get himself up there into a podium position. But this part of the track is where bike setup and gearing, most importantly, comes into play. You are at the top of the revs in top gear, and if you haven't got it set up properly, you're going to lose ground or you're going to make ground.
Water Ride Racing's Connemeier is up into 4th place. It's a good ride from him. Swanepoel behind him. Here comes Hannah Simon. I beg your pardon. It looked like he'd gone down, but actually his peak is still on there. It was probably just all the mud that was on that peak.
Simon, then Peterson. One of the youngsters stepping up into the senior side of things and showing well as well, because we seem to have lost Jackie Antigua. So as far as the lighties battle goes, Peterson is the man.
As far as the senior battle is, Sebra's the man. He's got ahead now of Sorrel van Biljoen. Van Biljoen having his own little problems out there, and unfortunately he had to sort them all out before he could get going.
Jaco Venter, he's been pretty honest out there, staying within the top 10. Hasn't been in the front group, but I think if he keeps his pace up, he should be able to tag onto the back wheel pretty soon. And then CVDV, Chris van der Westhuizen, the open class Storm Racing Honda man.
Consistent ride from Chris Fell as always, just keeping it all together as he heads into the Millie Fields. Here comes Reinecker.
Gideon Reinecker, CDV rider on the Honda, and then Busman. Look at him, just tucking, getting down there, trying to stay out of the wind. and definitely the fastest man through that section. I told you this was the kind of track that suited him, but I don't know what's happened. He's dropped off the pace. He needs to come back.
I was about to say, he's lost a bit of ground there, so something's gone wrong on Busman's bike. Maybe he got stuck in some of that fence as well. Leading master is still Yuri Meyer. And David Hollis, first shot we've seen of him, so he's made his way through.
Jose Roxy dos Santos, the senior battle and the masters battle is going to be huge today.
They really are pushing hard. Nice little hand up there. Looks like all according to plan. Clive Krauser. Haven't seen a lot of him this season. Good to see him back up and near the front end, but being closed down pretty quickly by a massive thumbs up from Andre Duplessis.
Duplessis drops off the pace as well, and Jackie Antigua, hand off the bars, looks pretty defeated. And then Tony dos Santos. So the dos Santos is out in thick force here today.
Run very, very fast out there, but you got the lead.
Yeah, it's great. Fell back in the beginning, picked up some wire on the axle. Managed to fix it up. Luckily, had the right tools on me again. Now we're only halfway. We'll see how it goes.
Getting pretty whipped out there?
Yeah, it's getting choppy. The bike's awesome. The Yamaha is flying out there. So I can't complain.
Heard you saying now you just need a 2-minute gap in case you have a flat or anything like that?
Yes, yeah, that's what we want to try and maintain. Don't want to overdo it, don't want to overpush the bike. It is really hard on the engines out here.
Flippy, very, very fast out there today,
Yes, bike suits the track very well, sitting on Brian, so we'll see how the second loop turns out.
Quite rutted out there and whipped out after one lap?
Yes, very, but that makes it even more fun.
So fitness comes to play now?
Yeah, we'll see.
Top 5 overall, and that's pretty impressive on the seniors.
Top 5? No, I don't believe you. No, it's awesome, lovely. The rain's just perfect for me. Bike's perfect. I'm just enjoying it. See how far I can go.
One more lap to go now. Pretty whipped out, but
yes, that second time around this first loop, it was quite rough. Now we'll see now with the second loop, the red loop, see what happens. I'll just hope I get a bit of luck this time.
Rock losing a little bit of time last time around, just getting all that grass out of your radiator, but coming back nicely now.
Yeah, rather safe than sorry. I try and save a motor from getting too hot, but it's just so fast. I mean, you set pin 5th gear, maybe make up a second or 2 or 3 a corner, but that's it. So we'll fight till the end and see where we end up.
Pretty major strain on these motors.
Yeah, they work hard, so we actually take a bit more out of them than we should, but yeah, let's enjoy it nevertheless.
Oh, look how awesome this is. A big up to Arpi Reinecker for coming to join us here and giving us a helicopter to play in. We would not be able to get these shots without him. And I think even your chopper, Arpi, is going to battle to stay with the pace of Brian and Flippy.
That's the Bitfest Yamaha 450 bike, ragging it out front, and this is just held wide open. Long straights is what the Kalahari 400 is all about, and you've just got to have the perfect setup on the bike and nerves of steel.
And try not to miss any of the road crossings that lead you astray. Flippy, he has a Honda at full pace as well.
He runs in second place. He's actually closing things down on Brian Baragwanath out front, because you can see a little bit of the dust. And believe me, that's not from the chopper, that's from the Yamaha. So we're going to have a Honda versus Yamaha, Flippy Bart versus Brian Baragwanath battle pretty soon.
We go back onto the ground now, and just to see how quick these guys are actually going. Coming up to the road crossing once again. Look, well done, Brian. Leading out, but right behind him, Flippy Bart has closed him down big time, and I think he's closing him down even more as we speak.
All these guys got their green cross code books out. Look right, look left, look right again, then pin it.
Pierre Storm Racing Honda, absolutely perfect stuff for that man. Oh, this is a big turn up. Look at that, 3rd place.
Swanee is absolutely flying. There's been a big story in 3rd place. Swanepoel's been switching things out with Busman. Connor Meyer, the junior, has been up there. Waterite Racing man sitting down in 4th place, but still within striking distance.
It's an awesome ride there from Cornell Connor Meyer. Yeah, comes Busman. Look at the body language. You can see he's not holding anything back now.
He made up a lot of time at the end of the last loop where he was flat out wide open and he's got his hybrid set up absolutely perfect out of Busman Racing. So we're going to be able to see if the Busman can really close things down. He looks happy and confident.
Hannes Simon also looking pretty good. You can see like how many Suzukis are at the front end of this battle too.
These are all the 450s so far as well. That's the big story. We haven't seen the open class guys, which I thought would come to the front on a track like this, make their way up just yet. We're watching out for Chris van der Westhuizen and the like of to really unleash the big power of the bikes.
I'm watching to see where the Zebra gets up there too. Remember, he's on the slightly bigger machine. He's just behind here, and this is Chris Fell we're watching. He comes across.
Zebra is there on cue, still leading out in the seniors battle. And to be honest, on a track like this, it's going to be very hard for the rest of the guys to close things down.
Well, unfortunately, it was a bit of a throttle cable problem there for Sarel van Biljoen. He's got it sorted out, but now he's got to get back up and try and catch Zebra. We go back on board with Arpi Reinecker, and down onto the racetrack you can see, I mean, the helicopter's battling to stay with Flippy.
Flippy is stood up wide open, just trying to see how far up the road. That's why we're chasing him down. There is first place, just off the road. The Bidvest Yamaha of Brian Baragwana still leads out, but Flippy is closing him down. This is going to be a nail-biter, probably the closest finish we've seen all year so far.
Just loving the fact that it is so close. It's so good to see. And of course, coming up into the positions a bit further back there, Duplessis has fallen way off here. So a lot of work now for Andre, whether or not he can get back to the front and in contention for a top 5 and some valuable points. He says, thumbs up, I can.
I think if he kept his hand on the bar, he'd go a little bit faster, but that's just my opinion. I love to see the come from behind rides from these guys, and Duplessis can really hold it wide open when he needs to, but he's running out of time. Here is the big man on the open class Honda, Chris van der Westhuizen, out of Storm Racing, and he is flying.
Certainly is. New horsepower out there. No. Sarel van Biljoen? No,
sorry,
it's not.
It's Sandstorm Racing. My apologies.
I was thinking it's Sarel. It's actually Reinecker. So still no Sarel van Biljoen in shot yet. Gideon Reinecker and then Jaco Venter.
Venter's been real solid the whole way through. Good qualifier, kept his nose clean, stayed out of trouble. Hasn't really linked himself to any of the other riders, so he's had a lonely ride out there, and he's had no one to clear the way.
The Santos just behind Vince Loubser. No problems for Roxy so far. He's just keeping it smooth and steady.
Sarel van Biljoen on the comeback trail. And I seem to have said that so much today, but there's been a lot of problems out on the trails for many of the top riders.
Either getting stuck in some fences or the other thing is you're going to see, Matt, is when the guys are on those flat out sections, they're going to give it everything they can. But every now and again, they'll just roll off, give the engine a little bit of a chance to cool down and to take it a little bit easier.
You've got to let it breathe. I mean, Busman, who is just a master of setting these things up, says we are pushing them past what they can do. So every now and again, got to give them a break. Back to the leaders.
And Flippy has made up that ground. He can literally just hook his bike onto the back end of the Yamaha and let Brian pull him around.
This is going to be all about strategy from now on, because Brian knows he's getting closed down, so what's he going to do? Carry on leading or allow the Honda to come past and see what the kid's got?
Just loving the fact that they are so close. We don't normally see this in quad racing. Your two leaders and the two men in contention for a championship getting so close and up close and personal, actually. Brian says, after you, sir.
Yeah, brake check. Now, I've led that section. Now you lead the next section. Third place is still a dice out between Busman and this man, Colonel Konnemeyer, the young upstart out of Waterite Racing. So impressed me this year. Very strong rides.
Yeah, a good team behind him as well, and some new sponsors coming on board with those guys. So Werner Perufsky is definitely doing a good job to make sure that the Waterite team are at the front end, and they are. There he is. There's proof.
You know what's nice to see is the fact that these guys started out as one of the Inkson teams, then they stepped up, they had a massive support team for the juniors. Now they're moving and stepping up and getting results in the senior side of things as well.
Just want to pull behind him. So he's just really trying to keep it as smooth as possible. Just taking a look at the back tire there. It looked like it was a bit flat, but it was actually just the way he was scooping up the desert sand.
And have we had perfect conditions for the Kalahari 400? Just enough rain to keep the sand down, keep it loamy, and just perfect traction for all the guys on the bikes and the quad side of things.
Now, the only thing that some of the riders were saying was that it was a little bit fast. I suppose that's off-road racing. It's part of the risk you take as a national competitor. And if you want to win championships, you've got to be able to go fast in these kind of conditions.
Back on board with our chopper shots. Flippy Bot trying to drop the hammer, trying to get the monkey off his back, and the monkey is named Brian at this stage. But Brian, you know what, he's got a lot up his sleeve, and no way he's going to let that thing get away.
I think those two are going to go at it almost all day. Looks like Brian's got to the front end once again now and pulled a bit of a gap. So somewhere on the track, he's found a little bit of an edge and got away from Flippy.
Yeah, Flippy looks like a little bit distraught there, trying to look up the road to see where the Yamaha is, and these guys are tired. Look at that crazy line. Those guys almost missed it. Third place, though. The battle is on. Busman looking over his shoulder. Has he got rid of the lighty?
Let's see whether or not Konnemeyer is too far behind. Can't see him just yet, but he can't be that far back. Jacques Strubig now up into third place.
That's Busman Racing on the hybrid, going out for a 450 result. He sits third place at the moment. Colonel Konnemeyer looks a bit tired by this stage. And you know what? It's not just physical fatigue, it's mental fatigue. These guys have had to stare down these roads at top speed all day long. It's just exhausting.
400 kilometers is what they have to do by the time they cross the line, so it definitely takes it out. Fifth place now. A good move here from Duplessis. He's made his way up nicely. And Chris Fell has gone with him.
That's the mixture of manufacturers. We saw this in the bike side, so it's a nice level of this track. Obviously, on the technical stuff, we've only seen maybe 1 or 2 manufacturers come to the front. But on the wide open stuff, obviously, all the manufacturers can make a bike that is pinned.
Good gearing there from those riders too. Here's Hannes Simon. Matt, interesting enough, this man has got 1st and 4th gear. That's it. And he's trying to get to the finish.
4th is enough, isn't it?
Should do. It's the 1st gear that I'm worried about.
5th gear would be important. Now we're finally seeing the man in the open category come to the front. Chris van der Westhuizen, Sandstorm Racing on the Honda, the open Honda as well. In the wide open stuff, he is just wound up now, and his fitness regime is coming into play because he is getting stronger as the race goes on.
It's a little clean of the goggles there from Jaco Venter. He's also staying within that top 10 hunt. He's just outside at the moment, but with the way that this race has gone and the slight attrition early on, he might have a chance of getting into the top 10.
Vince Lopesha riding himself into fitness and riding himself into championship points as well, because he's still on the comeback trail from a couple of injuries from last year, and he is just bringing home the bacon every time he goes out.
Heading into the leaders one more time and back onto the chopper with Oppie Reineke as they fly down. I don't think Flippy is going to catch this man. Brian has got the gap. He's got enough of a gap now, and he should be able to maintain it to the finish.
Flippy still runs in 2nd place. No one's going to catch the Storm Racing Honda rider, but the story is he was leading, and Brian just outfoxed him, got off the front, and is checked out. He's round a corner. You can't see him. That means you can't catch him.
That's all you've got to do. Just get yourself out of sight of the rider behind you, and that's exactly what Brian's done. And Flippy's done the same thing, but that was because Busman and Conor May have had their own little in-house battle.
No, Busman's had a nice season so far as well. We're only around number 3, but he is up there on points, and the Busman Racing hybrid bike is holding together nicely. Last season, by this point, he was crying into his beer because he's just had no finishes, had problems with the bike, had problems with fitness. This year, he's got it dialed.
He had a much better season, that's for sure. Conor May is having a great first season and looking good here in the National Seniors.
Duplessis, who was part of that lead freight train in the early running, dropped off the back. He's been on the comeback trail, so we know that he's got pace on the bike and fitness in himself. And unfortunately, the race is just not going to be long enough for him to get up into the podium. But 5th place, it's all about points. It's a long year.
David Hollis been very quiet all day, but smooth and steady, and that's how you get to the finish. Consistency pays off, and even though he started way, way back, he has come through the field very nicely.
Not too far away from the end. Chris Fell also had some goggle problems early on, got that sorted out, but his body language and the throttle of the bike just tells me he is praying for the finish line to arrive. Please, please, please soon.
He's looking up the road going, it's only a couple of Ks. I know I can, I know I can. 1st and 4th, well done to Hannes Simon. He will get to the line and he will finish up on 2 gears on that machine of his.
Listen to that, there's a lot of clutch work going on, so the clutch is just going to be smoking away, and there'll be some work to do in between the scenes, between rounds 3 and 4.
And of course, round 4 now being changed up to Sun City. We're going to go and play at the Valley of Waves.
You know what, that means it's going to be a track that looks very similar to this. Flat, they may send them up into the hills, but the hills are pretty small, so they're going to be few and far between. I think it's going to be a fast track.
Chris van der Westhuizen looking to take his victory in the open category. If he stays where he is, that's exactly what he's going to do. But no one is going to catch this man. Can you believe the pace that he found somewhere on the track to get away from the Honda?
The all-conquering team of the proudly best Yamahas, and they are coming to the front every single time now.
He tried hard, but unfortunately was found wanting in the last part of the last lap. But PS Storm Racing comes through in 2nd place. And Flippy will go to the next round, trying to find out how he can beat Brian Baragwanath.
Honda is still well represented, and it's turning into the Honda versus Yamaha battle, with Busman and his hybrid thrown in for the mix.
Jacques Struwik coming through in 3rd place. He'll be happy with that result. And it's always good to see the Busman on the podium.
So heading into round 4, watch out for him to get all the way to the top of the pile. This race, though, the Kalahari 400 was won out by Brian Baragwanath, coming all the way from the back on his Yamaha to take the win, ahead of Philippi Bart and Jacques Struwik on the hybrid.
Brian, the bad luck's gone.
I hope so. It wasn't easy today, but yeah, it was a great fight with Flippy. We had a good ride out there, lots of fun, very fast. Well done to the organisers. It's thanks to you guys that we can still race like this.
The chase is on the championship as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a long year.
450s, Baragwanath, Bart Struwik, Conor May, Duplessis and Hollis.
Open class, only one finisher. It was Chris van der Westhuizen on the Honda.
The seniors, Vic Sebra winning out the battle, and he had a great ride on his off-road Revolution machine, and he looked really good, but unfortunately, Sarel van Biljoen had to settle for 2nd. De Santos was up in 3rd, and Billy Roos in 4th.
Masters was the victory from Yuri Meyer ahead of DeSantos, Krauser, Visser and Thiessen.
In our ladies category, it was Melissa who was at the front end for a long time, but Chaudhry Monk eventually winning out. Van Rensburg in second, Anita Ace and Elisa de Kreef.
In the ever-popular silver class, it was Henk Siebenk who won out ahead of Alani Vandenberg.
Looking forward to Sun City now. These boys are going to go back into action as we get to round 4 of the Off-Road National Championships. And I think it'll probably be the same 4 boys at the front end.
This has been coverage of round number 3 of the National Off-Road Championships, the Kalahari 400. Once again, a big thanks to Todpack and their associate sponsors for making this happen.
Next week we go to Junior Off-Road National Championships from Rhino Park. Don't miss it on Rapid Motion Dirtworks.
Rapid Motion Dirtworks is moved by Omelo Toyota.